In the U.S. Senate race is a decorated veteran and retired Army Brigadier General. He was chronically underestimated by just about everyone in the primary, and he still won, and he's looking to pull off another upset on November 8th. Don Bolduc joins us in studio. Thanks for being here.
Adam, thank you so much for having me.
So you meet a voter out on the street. You got a minute to pitch them on your candidacy and convince them to vote for you. What do you say?
Hi, I'm Don Bolduc. I'm running for the United States Senate. I'm a political outsider. I will fight for you. I am not connected to the establishment. I won't work for one person down there. I won't work for a party down there. I recognize that the party on both sides, Republican and Democrat, have put us into the very dangerous and hard position that we are in economically, fiscally, and safety and security-wise. I'm asking for your vote. I'm asking humbly for your vote. I'll answer any questions you have. I'll meet you for coffee, lunch, talk to you on the phone, do whatever I need to do to earn your vote.
You say the key to stopping inflation, or part of it, is cutting government spending. If a Republican House and Senate achieve that goal, or at least succeed in freezing spending next year, when will the American people see results? When will inflation be stopped?
Well, I think that in combination with reversing the energy policies and decisions that we've seen will result, I think, in maybe 18 months to 2 years. See, I've always had this formula for the misery index. And when you break something and it causes misery, that index takes twice as long to fix. So just look at how long we've been in this and just add a factor of 2 to it. And that has been pretty good estimate that we've always used in the military when we're asked to do nation building and bottom-up fixing of of problems, whatever, the economy, spending, safety, and security. It always takes twice as long. And so I would expect Granite Staters and Americans to have to be a bit patient. But once they see that we're doing the things that will reverse it, they'll have much more confidence. So
I guess, what about help right away? What would be something, if it's going to take that long to see the effect, does the government need to step in? And you're suspicious of government action. Right. Does the government need to step in to help in some way?
No, I don't think so. I think there's plenty of programs out there that if they're run properly and people have access to, that will help. The last thing the government needs to do is jump in with programs like it did during COVID that caused a lot of problems, a lot of debt, a lot of lack of accountability and responsibility, and it let the our political officials off the hook, right? And we can't allow that to happen. We need to remain on the hook. We need to hold what we got, because that's just going to do the exact opposite and create more spending and more debt.
This is coming in as kind of a late flashpoint in the race, but can you explain your plan for a fair tax? If you look at some of the legislation on this from about 20 years ago, it did include kind of basically a 23% sales tax at the national level. Yeah.
No, I don't agree with any sales tax. I don't agree with any increase of taxes. And my opponent, Senator Hassan, has jumped all over that, because I want to look at revising our tax law, right? And I want to look at a fairer way to tax people based off of their income that they can be, comfortable with and that they can rely on, right? And so, yes, we got to get down there and we have to look at it. What Senator Hassan's solution is 87,000 more IRS agents to get into the business of, Granite Staters and Americans that make less than $100,000. People are scared of the IRS. People are scared to do their taxes. They worry about it. I worry about it. That's why I get the insurance from H&R Block at $200, which I'm sure is going to be more expensive this year, this tax season, than it's ever been, because everything is going up. I get that insurance for peace of mind, knowing that if I get audited, they're gonna take care of it for me with the IRS. Why should we be afraid of our government, right? That's a government that treads on us. We don't want a government that treads on us. And I think there's a lot of work to do there. And $80 billion for 87,000 more IRS agents is wasteful money. We don't need it. We need to stop that, reverse it, and reinvest it in our border and in our border patrol.
To clarify, though, what is your fair tax proposal then, if it doesn't include a consumption tax?
Yeah, well, I think it's a tax that looks at your income and taxes you accordingly, an income tax, right? Not states run that, but at the federal level. And I think there's a much fairer way to do it. We just have to We just have to look at it, and we have to work on both sides of the aisle to come up with what's best for Americans, because Americans are concerned about their rising taxes. You know, the Inflation Reduction Act, it increased inflation, it increased taxes, it didn't solve a problem, and she voted for that too. So every solution that she has raised taxes and complicated taxes and weaponized the IRS. Not a good answer for the American people or Granite Staters, and I want to look at reversing that.
Was the 2020 election stolen from Donald Trump?
No. I've been clear on that.
Why then did you say that it was for so long? You were on this program in March of 2021 saying what you're saying now, and then through the entire Republican primary, you had a different position.
Listen, I have been clear on this, right? And I have evolved in my opinion, just like I will evolve in my opinion on many matters that involve all Granite Staters, 1.3 million of them, right? I will listen to all of them, regardless of what they are, Republican, Independent, Democrat, Libertarian, and I did that. But I've also been clear that I believe there's some integrity and fraud issues that need to be looked into, and our state legislators and governor are going to do it. I've talked. We know that the legislature is going to look at it. We know that the Secretary of State is going to look at it, and it's about fair and free elections. It's about making sure Granite Staters have faith in it. And I'm on the ground, and she's not. And yesterday, at a 125-person house party, 125 people at a house party. It's amazing. Independents, Republicans, Democrats, Free Staters, you name it. An independent asked me that question, and asked me that question from a frame of reference that she is concerned about it. And I said, listen, you know, we should all be concerned about free and fair elections, but you got to talk to your state representatives and your state senators and your governor and the Secretary of State, because that's where it belongs. Unlike Senator Hassan, who wants to federalize the election process, get rid of the Electoral College, and that will have significant consequences on our first in the nation primary. You can't do those other two things and maintain first in the nation primary in New Hampshire. You can't. It's incompatible, and that is the danger of her ideas.
So if we went to the state archives and recounted the 2020 ballots, which are under lock and key there and are still secure, are you saying we would find thousands of potentially illegal votes?
I'm saying that there is a possibility, according to Granite Staters, that there is a problem with college students voting that aren't residents, with the mandatory ID process, with lack of confidence in machines, mail-in balloting, and these things are the responsibility of us to look at. If Granite Staters bring that to my attention, I'm going to look at it. Listen, I've talked to Granite Staters across the political spectrum on climate and environment, and I will be a champion for that. I was a champion for it in the military. I'll be a champion for it for Granite Staters. It's important. I listen to them. Whether they're Democrats or doesn't matter to me. The same thing on heating and eating. The same thing on the rising interest rates and everything that is precluding Granite Staters from getting the necessities and, being able to, take care of their kids during the wintertime. We're going to have blackouts, according to the experts, because of low, natural gas availability here in New England and in New Hampshire. These are the real issues that we need to be concerned about. And I get a question about, election integrity on yesterday's debate, and I answered it from the perspective of what I'm hearing from Granite Staters, not Don Bolduc's perspective. Just like I will approach every single problem from the perspective of Granite Staters to be their ambassador and their conduit in Washington, D.C. to make their life better.
We know that the Secretary of State and the AG investigate all of those ballots that are cast without ID. They sometimes get it down to just 2 people per election or 16. So it's a tiny, tiny fraction that end up not found, and they could have just moved. So it's not necessarily
nefarious. And if that's the case, then fine.
And this is what the
communicate it effectively, right? Because if Granite Staters have a problem with it, we have to listen to them.
Let's get to the border. Let's get to the border real quick here.
Yes, sir.
The situation at the border is reaching a stunning point. I don't know if people have seen this, but it's a $13 billion industry for the cartels now to move people across the U.S. southern border. Clearly, a deterrent of some kind is needed. General, would you support the end of birthright citizenship?
Birthright citizenship?
The idea that people who come here who have children, their children are automatically U.S. citizens.
No, I think the birthright citizenship is something that I would support and continue to support. That's not the problem. The problem is an unsecure border. The problem is that we don't follow our legal immigration laws. That's the problem, and that's the problem that the Biden administration, with the 100% support by Senator Hassan, has created. They've created this problem for us. Opioids with the drug cartel. You know, human trafficking, as you said, $13 billion industry right now. What a shameful thing, what a national embarrassment. Drug cartels. It's the same people doing this. Weapons coming into this country and negatively affecting this state. We didn't even talk about that yesterday, right? Opioid crisis, mental health, crime. The fact that police officers, we have shortages in every department, are historic shortages in the state police. This is because she did nothing to stand up for law enforcement officers with a national dialogue that law enforcement officers are good people and do their jobs. She stayed silent. Silent is consent. And so we need to secure the border and fix and follow our immigration laws, and then everything else will take care of itself.
General Bolduc, thanks for joining us on Close-Up. We'll see you for the Granite State debate in a few days.
My honor to be here, and my best to your viewers. God bless you.
Thanks for your time.